Hey guys, Break here, welcome back to the Daily Craft, the show where I do the crafting on one of my characters and we talk about all things gold making. First of all though, congratulations to the WoW token winner, Sweet Power. So I'll message you Sweet Power and please do comment on here as well, it makes things much easier. And congrats, thanks to everyone who subscribed and commented, and we'll do another WoW token giveaway very soon. Today we're on one of my characters that I have not crafted on in months. I think at least a couple of months until I've done anything like this. So it is leatherworking in Alchemy. I usually try and avoid this character because Alchemy takes a fairly long time and it's a bit annoying to do for the daily craft. But hey, if you look at the profit we're looking to make, 760 costs with a profit of 570. So that's a pretty awesome profit when it all sells. Now, a lot of that is due to, well, a few things. The Alchemy doesn't make too much, certain potions do. But if you go to the Vial of the Sands, they're making 26k profit each, which is pretty crazy. I should probably make more than 4. Maybe I'll make more. I'll just make 4 for the moment. But yeah, that's a really nice bit of profit. Leatherworking as well. We've got a few transmogs. Obviously, these transmogs are only being queued up because they sold before, as I only have one on the auction house at a time, so it's nice to be able to craft these transmog and try to sell them again because they do sell pretty good on my server. We also have, of course, the Dread Leather gear. Now, I always say how the gear sells really well, the 850 gear for leatherworking, and it's been selling really good for tailoring and blacksmithing. But like I say, leatherworking hasn't been done in a while, so I'm excited to do some of that. And yeah, we'll see how everything goes. Luckily, I already have a few of these materials, so it shouldn't cost as much. I have a few Sand of Times and Pyrium Lace Vials as well, so hopefully that should actually be exactly enough to make 4 Vial of the Sands. People ask me every episode why I don't switch to TSM 4. Remember guys, it's still only in the beta, and not everyone has access to it, so I feel I should still use an add-on that everyone knows rather than an add-on that only some people have. And yeah, I mean, I have TSM Premium, so I've been able to use it for ages and ages. But I just thought I'd wait till it gets properly ready, all the bugs are ironed out, and then I can get using it because it does look pretty cool. It just needs a bit of time, I think, to make sure everything's working properly. I always forget how many items you need for Alchemy. So many items, I mean, and leatherworking, but particularly Alchemy, which is why I'm not the most keen on this profession as a daily craft profession because it takes such a long time to record. However, it is a great profession for you guys looking to make some gold. Now, the reason it is so good is because it has many intermediate crafts which you can use for your advantage. For example, Transmute True Gold. Now, Transmute True Gold, you can do that whenever you want. It's not like a daily cooldown, and when you do it, you've got a good chance to proc extra True Gold if you have that Transmute Mastery. And in general, it's just a really good thing to do. You can usually just buy up the materials needed for it on the auction house, and then just make it and then sell it on the auction house, and it sells real quick because people who want to make Vial of the Sands buy it, and it's just a really easy way to make some gold, just intermediate craft. On my server, for example, the mats to craft are around 2,800 gold. It's selling right now for 3,500. So that's already 700 gold profit. And then if you count the extra procs, which you can often get, you can make a real good amount of gold doing this. However, on many servers, Alchemy really is just an old world profession. And the new world stuff, whilst it sells really well, obviously, everyone needs the flasks. Often the profit's so thin because so many people have the rank 3s and so many people are trying to sell these. It just doesn't work very well, at least on the servers that I'm on. I know some people still make some gold with Alchemy, new world stuff, but for me the profits just really aren't there as much, especially the main potions. Obviously you can craft some of the ones that are slightly less common, stuff like Potion of the Old War, and you can get a bit of profit from those, and even the like invisibility elixirs and stuff like that. But in terms of the actual flasks, the profit really isn't there on my server and hasn't been for quite a few months, so I don't know how Alchemy is on your server, guys. Anyway, I think I'll start off with the Vial of the Sands. The reason being is that I have a pretty full bank, a pretty full bags, a full reagent bank, and it takes so many materials, so I best get that out of the way. I do always get asked about the Vial of the Sands and whether or not people should bother trying to farm the recipe, and I actually usually tell them no. I tell them no because realistically it's just too much effort. It takes so long. It's RNG, so you never know actually how long it's going to take, but you know it's going to take multiple hours, like 30 hours, and that's if you have good archaeology already and you kind of know what you're doing. I'd say around 30 hours of farming on average, but it's really hard to tell. Some people spend way more than that. But yeah, I was saying the transmute true gold is the thing you've really got to watch out for and try and get the most profit on. And if you don't have volatiles on your auction house, it's going to be a bit of an issue. You can obviously farm them yourself, but we hate farming. But if you do like farming, they are a great item to farm for yourself. And if they're on the auction house, then I just always search. This is something that I am really bad at and I need to get better at. It's just running shopping scans every day or two on the auction house for all the main materials I need. Now I did start doing this and I kind of stopped. So you run a shopping scan and you get up volatiles when they're cheap. And this is good for two reasons. Firstly, it completely lets you never worry about not having enough materials because you've always got a big stock in your guild bank or whatever. And number two, it means that you can get them really cheap and it just adds to the profit you're going to make on each item. There we go then. Could make most of the true golds, but had to buy a couple of expensive ones from the auction house, unfortunately, because there weren't enough volatiles. However, it still worked fine. Still got some pretty tasty profit from these Vial of the Sands. Now we will make the rest of the items. The thing with alchemy, there's always stupid profits to be made from random things. Look here, ghost dye on my server goes for almost 3k, and it always goes for this, and it costs nothing to make. It's only because the mushrooms are really rare, they're hardly on the server, and so you can't make them very often, so that's why. It does sell though, weirdly, but most of these things will hardly ever sell. The reason I only make a few of the old world potions is that they sell quite slow, but they do sell for nice profits. I mean, all of these ones I'm making here, I'm only making them again because I sold them on my bank character. And I only craft items that have been sold because I only have a maximum amount on the auction house at a time, so these items do sell and they do net me some profit, but again, it's very slow, the old world alchemy stuff. Not quite as good as the old world inscription and old world enchanting, which, despite you think it was quite similar, actually they're a lot more popular. Used on heirlooms and stuff, whereas potions aren't used as commonly in terms of leveling or whatever. Anyways, let's finish off the rest of the alchemy. I am in cat form, that's never good. Got a few more old world potions, and then we will go... Oh no, we need to do some intermediate crafting as well, which I have the mats for because I've been a good boy. It's Mother's Day today, guys, so if you haven't said Happy Mother's Day to your mother, and it's Mother's Day in your country, I think it's Mother's Day in a few countries, though I know the Americans maybe have a different one. I don't know, at least in England we have it today. Like Valentine's Day, I think certain countries have different Valentines as well, maybe I'm mistaken. Okay, bag's getting way too full, let's send off some of my potions so far, and then we can continue. Like I say, alchemy and leatherworking must be some of the most bag-intensive professions, that's for sure. So let's finish things off. It's weird how you make diamonds with alchemy as well. I guess it's the whole transmute thing, it's a bit strange. I bet they'll end up getting rid of all the different types of leather. You know, they've been sort of nerfing the professions in terms of the skill cap, just like they did with the characters. Remember in WoD and Legion when they just got rid of all characters' spells, or loads of them, and made everyone, try and make everyone less complicated. They're doing the same for professions. They've already done it with enchanting. Basically removed all the different enchanting materials for Old World, or loaded them and replaced it with just a couple. And they'll probably end up doing it with professions, which is, I don't know, it makes things less complicated for crafters, but I also kind of like the complication. It makes professions cool. It also means lazy people find it less easy to do, so it probably means you make more gold. And in general, I just prefer it. The the way it is with all the different ores and leathers and everything you have to get. I don't want everything just to be the same. But I am worried they're going that direction. I mean, we've got the level squish coming up as well. The level squish 2 professions, and I don't know. I hope they don't go that way, because that'd be a shame. I mean, how cool is it? You get all these different sort of types of scales you have to go and get, and yeah, they're not usually on the auction house, but that's cool. It means when you find them, it actually might be worth something, and gives some new player out in the world killing things on a beach, and they finally see something that drops and actually might sell for some decent amount, and it's actually kind of different and not the same like everything else. So I do hope they keep all these differences in the professions, and I hope they don't sort of homogenise them. That'd be a real shame, but whatever. Anyways, after a lot of intermediate crafting, we can finally get down to things. Now again, there's a lot of transmog here that has crazy profits on it. However, these things do occasionally sell. You just got to lead them up on the auction house, and eventually they will sell if you're on a half decent pop server. I mean, it could take a few months, but like I say, I've actually sold these in the past, hence why I am making them now. So that's always good stuff. And again, anything will sell. People buy a lot of things, guys. Transmog is very underrated in terms of crafting professions. A lot of people just craft, and they always talk about the gear that you can make and how it's not relevant, and so that makes the crafting profession not relevant. I mean, there's two things wrong with that. First of all, the 850 gear is still relevant. It still sells really well. And second of all, the old crafted gear is also very relevant, and especially if you have some sort of rare recipes, which I do not. I do not have for leatherworking, but some people do, and you can make even more gold with that. But even so, people will just buy up a load of old stuff, and they'll pay a half decent chunk of gold for it if it looks cool. And a fair few of them look cool, so there you go. Talking about the New World gear, again, it is still selling pretty good, especially if you can get some good stats. Look at this crit haste going for 30k on my server. Others crit verse going for 2k, but people do pay extra for the good stats, so don't underestimate that, guys. Anyway, we'll probably end the video there as I finish off the rest of this crafted stuff. Just a bit of boring crafting to go. We've made over 700k profit. Now, again, a lot of that stuff is old transmog that won't sell in a while, but a lot of that stuff is fast selling cosmetics, including the Vial of the Sands mounts, and a lot of that stuff is New World, whether it's New World crafted gear, New World potions. So it's a great mix in there, guys. You need to have a great mix on your auction house. You want some old world stuff, you want some New World stuff, you want some slow sellers, you want some fast sellers, and you just got to get that mix on there, and the sales will come in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Bit of a random one, but it always is when we do leatherworking and alchemy. And until next time, guys, see ya.